Redefining Self-Worth. A story of love, boundaries, and finding strength in betrayal. Imagine giving everything to make someone's day extraordinary, spending months saving up, planning every little detail, and preparing for that one special moment to see a person you love experience pure joy. Now, imagine that very moment turning into heartbreak because that person doesn't just fail to appreciate your effort, but also finds a way to make you feel worthless. This is the story of one woman's journey of love, betrayal, and ultimately, self-discovery. She had been in a relationship with Mike for 4 years, a man she thought valued and respected her. He wasn't perfect, no one is, but to her, he was worth the sacrifices. They'd met at a work event, and their connection was instant. He was warm, friendly, and had a passion for life that made her feel safe. In the early days of their relationship, she had been open and honest about her past relationships, explaining that she had dated 2 close friends years before meeting him. It was a strange situation, one that could easily have been a reason for jealousy, but Mike had assured her that it didn't bother him. He claimed he valued honesty and that her past wasn't something he would ever use against her. She believed him, trusting that his word was as genuine as her own openness with him. But as time passed, small cracks in the relationship began to appear, though she tried her best to brush them off. They were minor comments, little jokes he made that seemed innocent at first. But slowly, these comments became a little more pointed, a bit sharper. And yet, she told herself it was nothing. After all, he loved her, didn't he? As Mike's birthday approached, she knew he wanted one thing and one thing only, the newly released PS5. He had talked about it for months, and even though it was expensive, she wanted to surprise him. She saved up from her paycheck, cutting back on personal expenses just to make this day special for him. She imagined his face lighting up with excitement, and every time she pictured it, she felt the effort was worth it. Finally, the day arrived. She walked into the party with the PS5 wrapped in his favorite color and adorned with a big ribbon. The moment was perfect. His friends cheered, and Mike looked ecstatic. But as she stood there, waiting for him to express his gratitude, a friend of his, Jessica, made a snide comment about how she must have done something shady to afford the console. Everyone laughed, and Jessica's words hit her like a punch. She felt embarrassed, humiliated in front of everyone. But Mike just laughed along. She pulled him aside, asking why Jessica would say something so mean. But he shrugged, saying, "It was just a joke. Don't be so sensitive." The moment shattered her confidence. Was she overreacting? Had she misunderstood something? But as she looked at him, she saw no empathy in his expression, no understanding. It was as if he, too, believed she wasn't worthy of respect. She tried to explain how much his reaction hurt her, but instead of listening, he doubled down. "You know what people think about girls with a past like yours. It's no secret you dated those friends of mine," he said dismissively. She stood there in disbelief. All her efforts, her openness, and her love felt like nothing. She felt betrayed, not just by Jessica's cruel comment, but by Mike's response, which revealed how little he thought of her. She realized that he had only tolerated her past but never truly accepted it. Every sacrifice she had made, every attempt to be transparent and honest in their relationship, felt like it had been in vain. Heartbroken, she took the PS5 off the table, ignoring the shocked faces of his friends, and left the party. That night, she returned it to the store, feeling a small sense of relief. It was no longer about the money. It was about reclaiming her self-worth. The aftermath was brutal. Mike and his friends berated her, accusing her of being petty and ruining the celebration. Jessica, in particular, went out of her way to belittle her. Each message felt like a reminder of her past mistakes, as if they were using her honesty as a weapon against her. Mike's indifference turned to anger, and he continued to text, alternating between insults and pleas. But she held her ground, realizing that she could no longer be with someone who didn't truly respect her. As time went on, she found herself reflecting on what she had learned. This relationship had been a painful lesson in the importance of self-worth, boundaries, and understanding what it means to be valued. She knew now that she couldn't stay in relationships where her past was held against her, or where her openness was used as ammunition. In moments of quiet reflection, she remembered stories from friends who had gone through similar experiences. There was the story of Jamal, who spent years supporting a partner who eventually revealed that she never respected him, leaving him feeling worthless and used. Then, there was Lisa, who realized her friend was mocking her life choices under the guise of humor, only to later understand that she needed friends who respected her boundaries. These examples reminded her that she wasn't alone in her pain, that many people go through experiences that force them to reassess their self-worth. Through this painful process, she found herself growing stronger. She started surrounding herself with people who valued her not just for who she was, but for the honesty and growth she had achieved. And while moving on wasn't easy, it was necessary. She eventually saw this breakup as a blessing in disguise, a chance to rebuild her life on a foundation of respect and self-love. As the weeks turned into months, she started to heal. The money from the PS5 refund became a small celebration fund. She used it to treat herself, indulging in the simple joys she had put on hold. A spa day, a new book, moments spent with friends who lifted her up. These became her new symbols of love. She no longer looked to others for validation. She had learned that real respect and love must come from within. In sharing her story, she hoped to inspire others to recognize their value and set boundaries that protect their dignity. She knew that many people might feel trapped in relationships where they feel judged or belittled. Her message was clear. You deserve respect and love. Don't settle for anything less. The Betrayal Game. A tale of lies, strength, and the sweetest revenge. Victoria believed her life was a dream come true. At 31, she had a fulfilling job she loved, a cozy home, and a husband, Aaron, who seemed to be everything she ever wanted. Aaron was steady, affectionate, and laid back. A man more likely to spend his evenings with her on the couch than anywhere else. They had built a life together, filled with shared memories and a deep, abiding trust. But that trust would be tested in ways she never could have anticipated. The first signs of change were small, so small, in fact, that she almost didn't notice them. Aaron, once the kind of man who scoffed at the gym, suddenly developed an interest in working out. At first, it was subtle, a few more walks, a comment here and there about getting healthier. Victoria was supportive, even encouraged by his efforts. After all, she thought, it was good for him to care about his health. But Aaron's routine didn't stop at occasional workouts. His interest grew until he was at the gym nearly every day, often twice a day. He started talking about protein shakes, muscle gains, and rest days as if he'd always been a fitness enthusiast. His wardrobe transformed too. Out went his old t-shirts and jeans, replaced by sleek athletic wear that clung to his frame, highlighting his toned muscles. He even changed his cologne, opting for a scent she didn't recognize, one that seemed out of place on him. Each new detail struck Victoria as odd, but she tried to brush it off. Still, something didn't feel right. She watched as the man she knew, the one who once teased her about her yoga routines, morphed into someone else. At night, she'd lie beside him, listening to the rhythmic hum of his breathing, feeling a strange distance settling between them. Aaron, who had always been open with her, was now evasive, his eyes darting away whenever she asked about his new gym habits. Then there were the late-night returns. The gym was only a 10-minute drive away, but Aaron would be gone for hours. When she asked, he'd laugh it off, muttering excuses about meeting old friends or avoiding rush hour. But it wore thin. As the days passed, Victoria felt a gnawing suspicion building in her stomach, a quiet dread that grew with each passing night. One evening, after another solitary dinner, Victoria lay awake, the weight of her doubts pressing on her chest. She couldn't ignore it anymore. While Aaron slept, she reached for his phone on the nightstand. Her heart thumped loudly, her hands trembling. She unlocked the phone with his code, a code she'd always known, and scrolled through his messages. Her worst fears were confirmed when she saw the text from Monica, his personal trainer. The messages were flirtatious, filled with pet names and secret rendezvous. Monica. Victoria recognized the name immediately. She'd met her once at a gym function, noting her vibrant smile and infectious energy. She never suspected anything then. But now, as she read their texts, each word felt like a knife twisting in her heart. There was a message that read, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow, my love," and another, "After the workout, maybe dinner at our spot?" Victoria's stomach churned. Her husband, the man who had promised to be faithful, was having an affair. That night, Victoria didn't confront Aaron. She lay beside him in silence, anger and pain warring within her, each breath feeling heavier than the last. Part of her wanted to scream, to shake him awake and demand answers. But as the hours passed, she felt a different resolve settling in. She would not give him the satisfaction of a confrontation. Not yet. Instead, she would make him feel every ounce of the pain he'd caused her, and she would do it in a way he would never see coming. The next morning, Victoria made her first move. She walked into the gym and approached Monica with a calm smile. She decided to join the gym, under the guise of wanting her own fitness transformation. She requested Monica as her trainer, pretending to be inspired by her husband's new routine. Monica, unsuspecting, accepted her as a client, eager to help her get started. Victoria hid her true intentions behind a friendly demeanor, all the while feeling a twisted satisfaction in befriending the very woman who had shattered her world. Their sessions began, and Victoria threw herself into each workout, pouring her anger and heartbreak into every rep and every bead of sweat. She grew stronger, not only physically but emotionally as well. Ironically, Monica became an ally in her transformation, unwittingly helping her regain her strength. She studied Monica during their sessions, listening to her stories, observing her mannerisms, and learning more about the woman her husband had chosen over her. As weeks turned into months, Victoria found herself in an unexpected position. She and Monica grew close, even going out for coffee and occasionally shopping together. Monica began to open up about her life, sharing stories of her past relationships and her own struggles. To Victoria's surprise, she started to see Monica as more than just the other woman. She was a person with her own flaws, dreams, and insecurities. This revelation complicated things, but it didn't deter Victoria from her plan. Her friendship with Monica became a strange, almost surreal game, a dance of deception and control. And all the while, Victoria kept up appearances at home. Aaron noticed the changes in her stronger physique, her newfound confidence. He began to compliment her, even showing a renewed interest in their relationship. At dinner one night, he asked, "So, who's this trainer of yours?" Victoria looked at him, hiding the bitter irony behind her smile. "She's incredible," she replied, keeping her tone light. "I couldn't have done it without her." Aaron seemed intrigued, even a little nervous. He didn't press further, not knowing that the trainer his wife had befriended was the same woman he was secretly involved with. Victoria savored the satisfaction of it, feeling the power she held over him without his knowledge. As the weeks passed, Victoria refined her plan. She invited Monica to dinner at a high-end restaurant, telling her it was a celebration of their friendship. She also arranged for Aaron to be there by coincidence, setting the stage for a confrontation neither of them would see coming. On the evening of the dinner, Victoria dressed carefully, choosing a confident, striking outfit that reflected the woman she had become. She arrived at the restaurant early, her mind buzzing with anticipation. When Monica arrived, she greeted her with a warm smile, and they sat down together, chatting and laughing as if they were old friends. Then Aaron walked in. Victoria saw his expression shift the moment he spotted them, his eyes widening in shock, a flicker of horror flashing across his face. He was caught, and there was no escape. Victoria rose from her chair, her voice calm, her gaze steady. "Aaron," she said, a hint of irony lacing her tone, "we're celebrating tonight. Care to join us?" Aaron stammered, his eyes darting between the two women. Monica looked at him, then back at Victoria, her face clouded with confusion. "Wait," she began slowly, realization dawning in her eyes. "You two know each other?" "Yes," Victoria replied smoothly, keeping her composure. "In fact, Aaron and I are married." She let the words hang in the air, savoring the shock that rippled through both of them. Monica's face went pale, her cheerful demeanor replaced by a look of utter betrayal. She glanced at Aaron, her eyes filled with disbelief, hurt, and confusion. Aaron, for his part, stood frozen, caught between them with no way out. His face was a mask of horror, as if the walls of his lies had crumbled around him, leaving him exposed. Victoria took a deep breath, feeling the satisfaction of her revenge settling in. She addressed the room, her voice steady and calm, a quiet strength in every word. "I wanted to thank you both," she said, meeting their stunned gazes, "for teaching me that sometimes the greatest strength comes from facing the truth." The weight of her words lingered, and for a moment, the restaurant seemed to fall silent. Aaron looked away, his face a mixture of guilt and fear, while Monica sat in stunned silence, grappling with the reality of what she'd done. In the weeks that followed, Victoria closed the chapter on her old life. She filed for divorce, severing her ties with the man who had betrayed her. She moved forward, meeting others who shared their own stories of betrayal and heartbreak. She found strength in the resilience of others, realizing that her story was not unique, but a part of a larger tapestry of pain and healing. In time, Victoria rebuilt herself, not as the woman she was before, but as someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. She embraced her newfound independence, her experience with betrayal transforming her in ways she never imagined. She carried the memory of that night at the restaurant as a reminder that she had faced her pain head-on, reclaimed her dignity, and walked away with her head held high. It was a lesson she would carry with her forever, that even in the darkest moments, there is a way forward, and that sometimes the sweetest revenge is simply reclaiming your own life. When love and borders collide, navigating love, culture, and visa woes in a foreign land. At the age of 22, a young woman made a decision that would forever change her life. Leaving behind her conservative, religious family in Indonesia, she moved to the United States, chasing her dreams and the promise of a better future. This journey was as much about independence as it was about ambition. She had worked hard to earn her place in graduate school, diving into the world of technology with a fervor that surprised even her. She knew she had to overcome many hurdles in a foreign country, but love was never one she anticipated. A few months after settling in, she met someone, an American man who quickly became her source of comfort, stability, and joy. Their relationship blossomed, and through late-night talks, weekend trips, and shared dreams, they formed a strong bond. He supported her through the challenges of grad school, helping her adjust to the rhythms of life in a new country. There were days when he would buy her groceries or lend her his car for interviews, his acts of kindness making her feel valued and supported. When her funds were low, he welcomed her into his home, letting her stay rent-free. In every sense, he became her rock, and as time went on, she thought she had finally found her forever partner. Over the years, they often spoke of marriage and family, imagining what the future would hold. She cherished these conversations, feeling secure that their love was building towards something lasting. They had the kind of relationship that seemed like a quiet, enduring love. As they both became busy with their careers, he as a teacher and she as a tech professional, marriage was set aside for someday, when life would be less hectic. Despite the delays, she believed they were moving toward a shared future. 7 years into their relationship, she encountered an unexpected crisis. Her company announced potential layoffs. As a temporary worker on an H-1B visa, the uncertainty hit her hard. Her visa was tied to her job, and if she lost it, her stay in the U.S. would be in jeopardy. This place, where she had built her life and love, had become a second home. Desperate to find a solution, she decided it was finally time to talk about marriage, seeing it as both a practical step and a symbol of their commitment. They were celebrating their anniversary, a night she hoped would bring them closer. In a cozy corner of their favorite restaurant, she gathered her courage and broached the topic of marriage. She explained the urgency of her visa situation, proposing that they could marry to secure her stay. But the hopeful atmosphere of their anniversary celebration quickly turned cold. Her boyfriend's expression shifted. His face went pale as he averted his gaze. After some prodding, he confessed his fear. He didn't want to be her visa mule. He worried that she might be marrying him for immigration purposes rather than love, and he wanted to wait until she could secure a green card on her own. His words cut deep. For 7 years, she had been open, loving, and committed to their relationship, never imagining that he would doubt her intentions. His fear left her feeling vulnerable and hurt, as though he couldn't trust her love despite all they had shared. As she tried to process his reluctance, she felt the stability of their relationship slipping through her fingers. When she asked if he would consider moving to Indonesia if she had to leave the US, his flat refusal underscored how deeply rooted their differences were. This wasn't just about a visa. It was about a lack of alignment in their values and future plans. The man who had once been her confidant now felt like a stranger, and she left the restaurant that night, heartbroken and unsure if their relationship could survive. In the days that followed, she took time to reflect on their relationship, questioning everything. They had shared a life, but it felt as though he had never truly understood her. Over the years, she had built a successful career, now earning close to $300,000 annually in her leadership role at a tech company. Her success, however, had created a gap between them that she hadn't fully realized. As a teacher, he made about $60,000 a year, and though she respected his dedication, it became clear that he had grown resentful. His friends' jokes about her being his sugar mommy had only deepened his insecurities, making him question his role in the relationship. In a quiet cafe where they'd often spent time together, she confronted him again. Seeking clarity, she reminded him of all the ways they had supported each other through the years, recalling memories of when he had been her strength during her grad school struggles. She reminded him of the groceries he bought, the car he lent her, and the home he offered when she had little. To her, these acts were expressions of their love and mutual support, a partnership built on trust and gratitude. Now that she had reached a place of financial stability, her way of giving back was to take on more of the expenses, easing his burden as he once had done for her. But despite her words, his insecurities seemed insurmountable. He admitted that he never expected her to out-earn him by such a large margin. He had imagined himself as the provider, and her success made him feel inadequate, casting a shadow over his self-worth. He confessed that he couldn't reconcile his desire to be the primary provider with the reality of their situation. Even as she reassured him of her intentions, he set an ultimatum. He would only feel like an equal if she quit her job and found something with a lower salary. It was a stark and painful moment. She realized that his love came with conditions that she couldn't fulfill, that he valued his pride over their shared happiness. With a heavy heart, she made the difficult decision to end the relationship. The man she once saw as her forever was unwilling to compromise, to grow beyond his own insecurities. His refusal to seek therapy or address his issues highlighted a fundamental divide between them. She left, feeling a mixture of grief, relief, and sadness for a future that would never be. The breakup was hard, especially when his family reached out in shock, unable to understand how their seemingly perfect relationship had unraveled. But life had more in store for her. In the midst of her personal upheaval, she received an offer from her company, a similar role in a different department, this time based in France. The job came with a slight pay cut, but the chance to live in Europe, to explore new cultures and perspectives, was an opportunity she couldn't pass up. She accepted, viewing it as a fresh start, a new adventure waiting on the horizon. Moving to France would be a chance to reset, to rebuild her life on her terms in a vibrant, historic country she'd always dreamed of visiting. As she packed her things, preparing for the next chapter, she reflected on her journey. She felt a deep sense of resilience and empowerment, knowing that she had chosen herself, her happiness, and her dreams over a relationship that no longer served her. Leaving behind the memories and heartbreak, she embraced the unknown, ready to begin anew. In the end, her story is a testament to the power of self-worth and independence. It's a reminder that sometimes, love means letting go, choosing growth over comfort, and moving forward even when the path is uncertain. She was heading toward a new life, carrying with her the lessons of a love that, though it ended, had helped her become stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before.